Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we are going to start with some of the definitions which will be helpful in the building drawing. So far what we have covered many things in the chapter number 6. We started the chapter 6. We discussed about the concrete. What is a concrete? What are the basic constituents of the concrete? There are two main constituents. One is the binding material, other one is the filler. Then we discussed about the different types of the concrete: plain cement concrete, the plain cement concrete, and then the reinforced cement concrete. The plain cement concrete was further divided into three types. One was lean concrete, normal concrete, and ridge concrete. Lean concrete was a concrete in which the cement content was less than 10%. Normal concrete was the concrete in which cement content was between 10 to 15%, and the rich concrete was the concrete in which the cement content was more than 15%. Then there was a reinforced cement concrete. The concrete in which steel bars are present is classified as the concrete and have a name of reinforced cement concrete. Then we discuss about the mortar, cement sand mortar. Then we discussed about the beams, columns, roof slab, dam proof cores, then bricks, ceiling height. We discussed about that. Now we are going to we will discuss about the sill level. What is the sill level? It is the level of main window, generally 3 feet higher than the floor level. In past, a sill or a slab was provided at the bottom of the window, projecting from the wall, from which the term sill level is derived. Nowadays, this type of sill is not used, but the term sill is still there and is also important for some other definition. So it is the level of, you can say it is a level of bottom, it is the bottom level of the main window in a house from the ground floor. So it's about 3 feet. Then we have another term called finished floor level. What is that? Finished floor level is the top level of the floor in any part of the building. It's called finished floor level. It may be different for the rooms, veranda, and open areas of the building. Obviously, a finished floor is the top level of the floor. It may be different for the rooms, for the porch it may be different, for the gallery it may be different. So it is a finished floor level. So in the different parts of the room this level may be different. Then we have another definition called the plinth level. It is the level of the ground floor top in the main part of the building. It is, again, just read it very carefully, it is the level of the ground floor top in the main part of the building. It is made higher than the ground level by an amount depending on the factors which based on depending on the following factor with a minimum of 1 feet. So plinth level is a level of finished floor in the main part of the building. You may have noticed that whenever you sometimes we enter in a house, the porch is having a low level. Porch level is lesser compared to the main part of the building. Then when you enter in the porch, then there is a step or two and you enter in a main part of the building. So that main part of the building, the level of this main part of the building is called as the plinth level. Okay. So why it is made higher than the rest of the building? Because its minimum is it is recommended that the minimum uh, it is minimum 1 feet above the ground level. What are the different factors? The building must be prevented from the rainwater to come inside the building. Obviously, when we made the main part of the building slightly higher so that if there is rainwater, so that we can prevent the rainwater coming from outside into the building. Then second reason is the drainage of the used water from the building must be easy. Obviously, if we have the main part of the building which is higher than the ground level, then it will be easier for the wastewater to come outside. It will be easier to get rid of the drain water from the main part of the building. Future trends in the locality like raising of the street road levels is to be kept in mind. Obviously, sometimes you may have noticed that whenever there is a construction of the road, the house level goes down and down and down. So to keep an eye on the future trends, and so that the building can be at some higher level compared to the outside ground, keeping in mind the raising of the streets or the road levels, we must construct the main part of the house at least 1 feet above the ground level. So these were the different reasons why we kept the main part of a building slightly higher than the ground level. So this level is called as the plinth level. Then we have a ground level. It is the level of the ground in or near the building, which may be natural or developed. So the level of the ground outside the building is called as, it may be the natural ground level or maybe prepared ground level. It doesn't matter if it is a prepared ground level or natural ground level. It is level of the ground adjoining to the building which you are constructing, or it's the level of the ground outside the building or near to the building is called as the ground level. Then we have a term called as superstructure or substructure. We differentiate with there is a little difference between the superstructure and a substructure. The portion of the structure which is visible or which is above the ground level is called the superstructure. Any portion of the building which is visible to you, from it means any part of the building which is above the ground level will be classified as superstructure, and any portion of the building which is below that ground level will be classified as substructure. So a portion of the structure which is visible or which is above the ground level is called superstructure. The portion of the structure present underground is called the substructure, including the foundation and basement if present. If there is a basement, if there is a foundation, definitely there will be foundation. So the foundation is a part of substructure. If there is a basement, it is a part of substructure. Anything above the ground level will be classified as superstructure. Any questions so far? You can raise your hand. If there is any question, you can raise your hand. Yes, Yasir.
सर ये सर ये आप जो सुपर स्ट्रक्चर दूसरी वगैरह बता रहे हैं सर, अगर साथ पिक बता दें तो वो तो ज़्यादा क्लियर हो जाएगा।
1 second, I can show you. Just wait, we can just finish the question of the other students and I can show you the picture if there is any, if I can find it. Yes, Mohammad Faizan.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन था कि आपने ना पिछले लेक्चर में पढ़ाया था डैम प्रूफ कोर्स, अ मटेरियल बिल्ट नियर ग्राउंड टू प्रिवेंट राइजिंग डैम। तो सर ये डैम प्रूफ मेम्ब्रेन भी होती है एक टर्म, इसका क्या मतलब है?
Membrane is also it is a part of, you can say membrane is like a plastic sheet or something like this. Okay, so dam proof cores or membrane are basically same things. This I told you that sometimes we use 2 coats of hot bitumen, the coat tar coal or bitumen, it's called as technical language, in technical language we call as a bitumen. So we just like we paint some bitumen on the top of the DPC, and then we sometimes we place the plastic sheet. The plastic sheet is a membrane or any other type of material which can prevent the moisture from the ground to come in the superstructure will be classified as membrane.
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Yes, Abdullah.
सर मेरी भी रिक्वेस्ट थी कि आप ये काइंडली एक दफा ड्रॉ करके एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं ये जो लेवल्स आपने अभी पढ़ाए हैं, क्योंकि थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन हो रही है इस तरह।
Okay, that's fine. Faik.
सर ये जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है सर, ये अंडरग्राउंड लेवल होता है या जो ग्राउंड लेवल होता है वो तो इसमें नहीं आता ना?
Ground, anything below that ground level will be classified as substructure.
ओके सर, ओके।
Khwaja Zain.
सर ये सेल स्ट्रक्चर को थोड़ा सा एक दफा एक्सप्लेन कर दें।
Cell level. Okay. Amarul Hassan. Right, I'm going to explain the sill level again. If you read the definition again, what was the definition of the sill level? It is a level of the bottom of main window, generally 3 feet higher than the floor level. Just remember this thing. It is the level of bottom of main windows, generally 3 feet higher than the floor level. So just imagine that you have a house like this. Sill, can you see the sill level here? It is saying that sill level.
Yes, sir.
So sill level is the level of the finished floor from that basement or the baseline, the finished level of the finished floor to that bottom of this window. This 3 feet distance is called as sill level, right? From the finished floor to that the bottom of the main window, this level is called, this dimension is called sill level, and it may be 3 feet, 2 feet, depending on the windows distance from the finished floor. So this is called as sill level. Now I will tell you what is the plinth level. Plinth level, if you just read the definition again, plinth level is the level of the ground floor top in the main part of the building from the ground level. It is the level of ground floor top from in the main part of the building, right? So just imagine that you have a building like this. The main part of the building is starting. One second. The main part of the building is starting after these steps. There are two steps, one step and another step. This is the main part of the building where we have fixed that door. So this level from the ground level, in this case, this is a porch. The level outside this house, or the level of the natural ground surface, distance from that natural ground surface to this point is called as plinth level, right? and this is made higher than the natural ground. Why it is made up? It is made higher than the natural ground level because so that the rainwater may not come inside the building, so that we can drain the water from the building outside easily, so that if there is a rising of the street or rising of the road outside, our building is still at some height from the adjoining ground. That is the reason why we keep this slightly higher than the natural ground outside. Minimum it is roughly 1 feet. And the finished floor, again, the finished floor is the top level from the ground floor, from the ground, from the natural ground outside. It is the level of the floor in any part of the building. The top level, finished floor level from the ground, natural ground level. The distance from this natural ground to this finished floor is called as finished floor level. I think I have answered all of the questions. One was remaining, the substructure and superstructure. For example, just imagine that we have a house as shown in the figure here, and the level of ground is, for example, here, where the plinth is written, right? So anything below that, below this surface will be the foundation, will be the basement. So this will be classified as substructure. Anything above that will be classified as superstructure. For example, if you look at this figure again, another figure in which there is a basement, and you can see the green is the grass here. So anything, this is the natural ground level. So anything below that natural ground level will be, if it is a basement or whatever it is classified as substructure. Anything above that is called as superstructure. So we are moving forward now. Parapet. What is a parapet? A small wall provided on the periphery of the roof for safety and privacy purpose is called as parapet wall, having height of 1 feet to 5 feet from top of the roof slab. रूफ स्लैब छत के ऊपर जो बाउंड्री वॉल लगाई जाती है उसको कहते हैं पैराफिट वॉल, ठीक है। उसकी हाइट 1 feet भी हो सकती है, its height can be 1 feet, between 1 to 5 feet depending on your requirement. 1 feet is only recommended in those buildings where the access to the roof is not available and only used to retain the filling material on the top of the roof. Sometimes you need to provide some filling material or insulation material so that the there is a minimum heat transfer from the roof slab to the underlying building. So you provide some heat treatment materials on the top of the roof slab. छत के ऊपर आप provide कर देते हैं, ठीक है। In the roofs where the access is not provided, where is no access, we provide the parapet wall is of height 1 feet, and when there is access to the roof where there is a chance of the people coming and going to and from the roof, then we will provide a roof wall of greater height, you can say up to 5 feet. And the boundary wall, all of you know that. I think the boundary wall is any wall which identifies a boundary of a building. If you have a university has a boundary wall as well. It may be of barbed wire, it may be of the sometimes fences, it may be of permanent bricks. So we have a variety of the walls. So it is the outermost wall of a building, making the boundary of an area used to provide the safety and privacy inside the building. In undeveloped localities, height of the boundary wall should be higher than the eye level of a common person, but should not be so high that it blocks the passage of the wind and or the sun. So the height depend on your requirement. The height is about 5 to 7 feet from the ground level. In the developed area, according to the bylaws of the controlling authority, the plot is to be kept open on at least 3 sides, and inside a connected block is made having its own outer wall with one or two entrances. This constructed portion is separately safe and provide privacy. So in such cases, we may reduce the height of the building. So this was the discussion about the height of the boundary wall. It depends on the your requirement mostly, and sometimes the authority restrict you that you cannot construct your house fully. I will show you one second. One thing. For example, if you have a plot, for example, just imagine that you have this plot size and you want to construct your house in here, right? So what will the authority will do? Authority will say, okay, you can construct in some part of the building and in some part you cannot construct. For example, the authorities, most of the authorities restrict you to construct full plot. They say, okay, you can provide, you can construct in 75% of the area, and you have to leave 3 sides open. I am just drawing here. What does it means? You can say the, let me one second. Okay, I'm the hatched area, which I'm just hatching it. This area you can construct and the remaining area you cannot construct, right? So this side is open, this side is open, this side is open. So 3 sides are open, 1, 2, and 3. This is, for example, if this is the front side, the back side is open, and the right or left side, one side must be open. So depending on the bylaws of authority, for example, if your plot is in Islamabad, so Capital Development Authority will restrict you with some of his rules and regulations that, for example, in the Capital Development Authority, if the rules are that you have to leave 3 sides open and you have to construct on 75% of the area, so you have to follow these rules. And if this is open and there is no plot on the back side, then you have to construct a wall. If this is open and there's no plot on the right, then you have to construct a wall. And obviously from the front you must construct a wall, because that's the open to the road. There will be, if it is a front side, that there will be a road in the front, so you have to construct a wall. So this wall is called as boundary wall. The height depends on your requirement. Then we have tread and riser. So you may, all of you may have seen stairs. In stairs, their stairs looks like the figure 6.5. On one portion you place your foot, the other will be vertical. One horizontal portion, on horizontal portion you place your foot or feet on the top of that. So the horizontal portions on which you place your feet is called as tread, and the vertical portion is called as riser. Okay, so the height covered in one step of stair is called riser, the vertical portion. Okay, and the width of the horizontal platform required for the one step of a stair is called tread. That horizontal portion is called as tread. For the public building, the riser is usually made up of 6 inches, while the tread is kept 12 inches. For the public buildings like universities, like hospitals, like shopping malls, to be used, if stairs are to be used by the general public and the public of all types. So it is recommended that the height or the riser is 6 inches and tread is 12 inches. More, if you have a stairs having the bigger tread, it will be easier. If you have a stairs with lesser riser, it will be easier. Okay, but obviously it will take more space. Then we regarding relating to the stairs, we have another thing called as flight of the stairs. A series of steps arranged together, usually in a single line, is called flight. You may have noticed that thing. You may have noticed that sometimes when you climb up a stair, there is a rest portion, that middle portion. This is called landing. So steps in, you started from here and you stopped here, there was a landing. Then you started from this landing and end up on the other landing. So steps between these two are called, this total length is called as the flight of a stair. Okay. Just read the definition again. A series of steps arranged together, usually in a single line, is called as flight. So in a single line means this thing. From this portion, from bottom to the first landing, these steps are in one flight. Then this landing to the other landing, these series of steps are another flight. Maximum number of steps in a single flight must not exceed 12 to 14. Longer flight may be dangerous and uneasy for a person using it. Further, it requires a longer space, which is generally not available inside a building. If you want to calculate number of rises for a certain height, how you will calculate it? There is a formula to calculate the number of rises for a certain height. For example, if you want to reach to a height of 10 feet, how many rises will be? So height to be covered in inches. For example, if you are going to, there is a ceiling height. For example, if here, just imagine this is your slab, roof slab. And you are here at the bottom somewhere. You will make a stair. What is the height of, let's say ceiling height is 10 feet. And slab height is, this slab height is, let's assume 6 inches. So total we have to cover, total height we need to cover is 10 feet 6 inches. And we are at the ground level. This is ground level, let's say. So you need to make some steps. You have to reach on the top of the roof. Obviously, I'm not making very good. So to reach the bottom level, you need series of steps. And for example, if you want to reach to a 10 feet 6 inches, how you will calculate the number of steps or number of rises? Number of rises will be equal to total height, which is 10 feet 6 inches. You need to convert that 10 feet 6 inches in all in inches first. 10 feet in inches means 10 into 12 plus 6 inches. So this will be, and divided by height of one riser. Height of one riser, just assume that it is 6 inches, right? So 126 divided by 6 will give you 21. So 21 steps you need. If you have 21 risers you need, if you have a height of one riser is 6 inches and total height is 10 feet 6 inches, right? So if you increase, for example, if you increase this riser height to 8 inches, you need less steps, obviously. And you if increase it further, so that is why if you have limited space, you increase the uh, height of the riser. But more comfortable stairs are those having less riser height. So if we have 8, for example, height, if we have 8-inch height of the riser, we will get about 16 steps. And if we increase it further to 9 inches, we'll have to provide 14. So depending on your riser height and tread, you will adjust that how many stairs will come. Okay. So height of the riser, number of risers will be, sorry, number of risers will be height to be covered in inches, total height divided by riser height in inches. I told you the landing. What is the landing? Landing is the portion which is provided for rest between two flights. For example, there is one flight, there is another flight, and there is a middle portion which needs, which is provided for the rest. So that portion is called as landing. So more, you can see this more visibly that if you have stairs like this, there are 4 5 steps, then there's a rest portion. This is called as landing. Then there will be some steps, and then there will be floor. Sometimes you may have seen the stairs like this. Sometimes it is provided like this, that landing portion go up and turn your direction. There will be landing in between, and then you will be able to turn your direction here as well. So this was called landing. We have two things left. I need 2-3 minutes break here because मुझे 2-3 मिनट चाहिए. नमाज यहाँ अजान हो रही है, ठीक है, तो अजान हो जाए उसके बाद मैं कंटिन्यू करता हूँ इधर से. So foundations, foundation, the portion of a structure under the column and wall which transfer the load of the structure to the soil underneath in a safe way without excessive settlement is called foundation. So just read this definition again, that the portion of a structure under columns and walls which transfer the load of the structure to the soil underneath in a safe way without exceeding the settlement is called the foundation. So what is the purpose of the foundation is to transfer the load from the columns and walls to the underlying soil. So you may have seen the foundations, the construction of the foundation, that foundations are like this. Sometimes you have a wall. First you excavate, you do some excavation, pour some concrete, then you place some bricks on the top which are wider than the normal thickness of the wall. If the thickness of the wall is 9 inches, for example, the width of this foundation may be 2 feet 6 inches, or sometime more or sometime less, depending on the load carrying capacity of the soil. If the soil is stronger, then we can provide less wide foundations. If we have a weak soil, then we have to provide more wider foundations. So the foundations carry the load, transfer the load to the underneath soil. So this is the example. Right in the front of you is the example of the stepped foundations, in which these foundations on the bottom portion there is a concrete, maybe plain cement concrete, or sometimes if the soil is weak we have to provide reinforced cement concrete. On the top there are bricks which are wider than the normal thickness of the wall, maybe 2 feet 6 inches. Then we will move in steps, and we'll come, and then the width will be equal to the width of the wall thickness. We have foundations like the column foundations as well. Sometimes we have the different type of foundations. Sometimes we have pile foundations. Here we have the example of stepped foundation. Sometimes we have to dig the piles inside for the very if we are going to construct a plaza, or we are going to construct a bridge having more load bearing, having the more load, then for to bear that load we have to provide a different type of foundations. Foundations may be like that. These small circles, small dots are showing the reinforcements, the steel bars. During the construction, you may see like this, that you pour concrete and the steel bars are coming out of that concrete. So this is a foundation example as well. You construct, first you dig the soil with excavator, or with sometimes with hand. So when after excavation you pour the concrete, and on the top you place your steel bars or the bricks depending on the type of the soil or the strength of the soil. So this is the excavation by hand like this. So the purpose of the foundation is to transfer the load of the superstructure into the substructure, into the underneath soil. I was telling you that we have the foundation is like this. I'm just drawing it again. On the top, the width of the wall will be 9 inches. Then, for example, here we have a ground level. This is, for example, just assume that this is the ground. किसी को नजर नहीं आ रही?
नहीं सर।
क्या नहीं नजर
सर आ रही है?
आ रही है।
ओके, लीव इट. आप जिसको नजर नहीं आ रही वो लीव करके दोबारा ज्वाइन करें. Right. I was just telling you that, for example, just I'm drawing a wall. Just let me show you a foundation like here. 1 second. Just assume that you have a wall like this on the right side. There will be wall thickness 9 inches, then there will be DPC, and underneath the DPC, there will be brick walls again. When these walls go inside the ground, the width will be slightly more, then slightly more. And then on the bottom, there will be PCC or RCC depending on the strength of the soil. Why the width? We have increased the width of the foundation. This is the question. Why we have increased the width of the foundation? Answer to this is, for example, load is coming in the wall here, right? This is the ground level. Then we have increased the width of the foundation. Load is here, all this portion. Then we have increased the height width further. So load is distributed further. So we have increased the width further and load is distributed further. Right? So if, for example, here we have a load of 5 tons, for example, at the bottom here, because the load was distributed, the area is less. Load reached at the bottom here will be maybe less than 1 ton. Why? For example, just assume that you have this ground level. This is the ground level, just assume. And if you have a steel rod like this, and you just try to insert this steel rod into this ground, it will be very easy. You just apply the pressure on the top and it will penetrate into this ground. But if you have something, if, for example, just assume that you have a wood which is of this dimension, this width, and you try to push that wood into that soil, it will, if you apply the same force, for example, if you apply force of 10 Newton, for example, here and 10 Newton here, 10 Newton force may penetrate, able to penetrate this steel bar easily, but with the same force, you will not be able to penetrate this wood portion. Why? The width is more here. When you have a more width and same load, you may know that there is a formula called stress is force per unit area. Same force, 10 Newton, area in this case maybe 1 square inches. Maybe here in the other case, what will be the area? Case 1, case 2, stress, force per unit area, force was same, area maybe 10. Resultant stress will be 10 here and resultant stress will be 1 here. So if you increase the area, stress reaching at the bottom portion will reduce. So that is why we have increased the width of our foundation so that the stress reaching on the top of the underlying soil may reduce below its bearing capacity. If the bearing capacity of the soil is 1 ton per square feet, the stress reaching here must be less than that. Right? I will take some questions here. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and I will be able to answer. Bushra?
सर बाउंड्री वॉल में आपने बताया कि 75% पे कंस्ट्रक्शन होनी चाहिए और 3 साइड्स ओपन होनी चाहिए, तो क्या हम
नहीं,
इस तरह
ये नहीं बताया बुशरा, मैं ये कह रहा था कि some authorities restrict you to do that. Okay, so it's like a part of bylaws. Sometimes Rawalpindi Development Authority may restrict you that okay, you have to construct on the 70% area. CDA may restrict you that okay, you can construct 75% area. Some other localities may say allow you to construct 80% of the area. It depends with authority to authority. These bylaws varies.
Yes. Okay, sir.
So is there any part of other question? Any other question? Right. Waqas?
जो नंबर ऑफ राइजर्स आपने बताई थी फॉर्मूले से, वो दोबारा बता देंगे, वो समझ नहीं आई मुझे।
Number of rises, there is a formula to calculate the number of riser, which will be to total height to be covered divided by height of one riser. If you want, if you have a roof slab as shown here, and if you want to reach to a height of 10 feet 6 inches, so you need to convert this 10 feet 6 inches into inches altogether. So 10 feet into inches will be 10 into 12, 120, plus 6 inches, so 126 inches. So you need to cover 126 inches divided by height of one riser, which is 6 inches, will give you total number of stairs. Right? जी अमारुल हसन, हिबा, यासिर,
Could you please repeat the example जो आपने अभी दी थी
दोबारा बोले, मुझे आवाज बहुत स्लो आ रही है आपकी।
सर मैं कह रही हूँ could you please repeat the example जो आपने अभी recently दी थी about the width of the steel bar and the thing जिसकी area ज़्यादा था and the pressure was you related pressure with something.
Okay, I will explain in detail further in a bit. Yeah. फैजान, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
सर मैंने ना फ्लोर जोइस्ट के बारे में ना सुना था कहीं। कैन यू प्लीज टेल मी अबाउट दिस, व्हाट इज फ्लोर जोइस्ट?
फ्लोर व्हाट?
जोइस्ट, JOIST।
जोइस्ट?
यस सर।
क्या सुना था आपने, वो बताएं।
सर वो सुना था काफी देर पहले ना, जहन में नहीं है ऐसे ही।
अभी ये इस लेक्चर का पार्ट नहीं है मेरा ख्याल है, ठीक है।
वो फिनिश्ड फ्लोर लेवल से ना मुझे जहन में आया था।
नहीं, इस लेक्चर का भी फिलहाल पार्ट नहीं है। असदुल्ला।
जी सर, मैंने पूछना था कि ये जो ड्राइंग्स होंगी हमारी, ये ऑन कैंपस बनानी होंगी या ऑनलाइन बनानी होंगी हमें घर बैठ के?
ये फिलहाल अभी ये डिसीजन है कि ऑन कैंपस बनानी है, अभी देखें मे भी रिवाइज हो जाए, कुछ कह नहीं सकते, ठीक है। इस लेक्चर से रिलेटेड पूछें भाई, अभी जो पढ़ाया उसमें कोई सवाल हो तो। सुबान, उस्मान।
सर हमने अभी पढ़ा है कि एक फ्लाइट में जो है मैक्सिमम 12 to 14 स्टेप होने चाहिए, उसके बाद एक फ्लाइट आनी चाहिए।
These are the recommendations only.
अच्छा सर, ये जो फ्लाइट हम फ्लाइट के बाद लैंडिंग रखते हैं, तो सर ये जस्ट सेफ्टी पर्पस के लिए या इसमें कुछ स्ट्रेंथ में इजाफा करता है? ये
देखिए दोनों चीज़ें हैं, बाज़ औक़ात ये स्ट्रेंथ के लिए भी होता है, उसको आप कनेक्टेड वॉल से कनेक्ट कर देते हैं, वहाँ पे रीइंफोर्समेंट इनसाइड द वॉल जाती है, तो एक स्ट्रेंथ भी है, ठीक है। उसके अलावा बाज़ औक़ात ये आपकी जो क्लाइंब कर रहा है उसके लिए भी एक रेस्ट पोर्शन है, वहाँ पे भी उस दोनों चीज़ें इसके अंदर चीज़ें शामिल हैं।
सर
जी
सर, ये जो फाउंडेशन है कंक्रीट के अलावा अगर ब्रिक्स की बनी होंगी तो उनका कोई ड्रॉबैक है कि दोनों का काम एक जैसा ही होता है?
Concrete will be more stronger, depends actually. Concrete will be more stronger, it will give you more strength, but obviously the cost will be more.
Okay, all right.
Any other question? We will move forward, and the thing which is remaining, one of the students asked me to explain that once again, so I will explain that in the last discussion which we will do. Okay, so the last thing was these definitions. Was a lintel. What is the lintel? Lintel is a small, usually concealed beam provided over opening in the walls like door, windows, ventilators. If we have some pictures again here. For example, if you look at this picture in which there is a brickwork showing, it is showing the brickworks. You can see that there are some beams right on the top of the windows here. Similarly, we have these beams on the top of the doors. Beams here if there are windows or openings. So we have that beam. These small beams are called as lintel beam. Okay. So beams on the top of the windows and doors like this. For example, if you have this, it is connected to the window and it is connected to the door, or if you have a beam, there's a beam on the top of the window or on the top of the door, these beams are called as lintel beams. So this was all about today's lecture, and now we will have some discussion, and inshallah next week we will start with the article 6.2.